Morning, Steve here in Chicago with the morning grain comments. Well, it's Thursday, but there are no export sales data because of the holiday on Monday. Markets overnight, beans are up a little bit, wheat's down, and corn's about unchanged. Outside markets, you got the dollar a little bit lower, crude's a little bit higher, and stocks were lower, now turned higher. As far as the market news overnight, I think the first thing that the market's going to be looking at is we've got a private estimate today of the U.S. Corn and soybean crop numbers. So the trend has been a little bit lower corn yield and a higher soybean yield. So we'll see if that follows through. We're also kind of watching globally some of the macroeconomic things. You know, is the economy slowing, and could that slow food demand? We're also watching down in South America how competitive they can be before their next harvest, and does that help the U.S. corn export outlook? Does that provide support to corn prices at these levels? We're also watching U.S. and China trade. Again, China is not buying U.S. beans. Will they be forced to buy some in the Jan-February timeframe before the next Brazil harvest, or are they going to cut back on their imports? And then finally, we'll be watching U.S. weather. Right now, remnants of Gordon is coming up into the Midwest and providing heavy rains for the Delta, parts of Missouri, perhaps southern Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. Maybe 3 to 4 inches of rains could fall in those areas. The good news is that next week it looks drier across the Midwest, and certainly crops need to dry out, especially in areas that have seen some excess flooding. Agronomists around the Midwest suggest that this is not hurting crops yet because it's late enough in the crop season that if we dry out, we should be okay as far as yields are concerned. The Brazil private group came out and said that they're raising the outlook for soybean exports out of Brazil to 76 million tons. Their previous number was a little over 73, and the USDA is using 75. Yesterday, the funds were sellers of beans, meal, oil, corn, and wheat. They continue to be short beans, oil, and a little bit of corn, and long wheat, and long some soybean meal. So again, outside markets relatively quiet. We'll be watching to see what the private crop estimate is and see the impact that may have on prices, and then kind of watching the money flow based on some of the interesting things that are going on in the world, especially Washington and trade with U.S. and China. As always, these are my thoughts, not those of ADM or ADM Investor Services, and have a safe and profitable trading day.